everybody, and you're welcome to tonight's Thursday night live session. My name's Fiona Kelly, I'm LYIT's marketing manager, and tonight we're going to be joined by Siobhan Cullen, Head of Department of Law, Public Service and Education. And then later in tonight's session, we're going to be joined by Dr. Bronagh Heverin, Lecturer in Law with Criminal Justice at LYIT. And then we're going to be joined by fourth year student in Law with Criminal Justice, Eimear Doogan. So let's get started because there's a lot to cover, and we're going to be joined now by Siobhan Cullen, who is the Head of Department of Law, Public Service and Education. So you're welcome tonight, Siobhan, back on. Great to have you.
Good evening, Fiona. Thanks very much. It's lovely to be here, and hello to everyone who's watching this evening.
So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to talk to you tonight, Siobhan, about the LLB Law Programme, our Level 8 Honours degree. Now, this programme is pretty special in that it's a 3-year Level 8 programme, what's known really as a fast-track honours degree. So can you give us the context of the programme and explain to the people watching tonight what is our Law LLB?
Yes, Fiona, delighted to. Well, we have two law programmes at LYIT. We have LY 207, which is Law with Criminal Justice, the Level 7 programme, which we're going to talk about in a little while. And we have the more recent edition, which is LY 208, the Level 8 LLB. And I have to say first, I suppose, Fiona, that we're the first Institute of Technology to offer law in Ireland at degree level. So we've actually had a law degree since 1998. Wow. So it's something we're really proud of because we really played a role in widening participation in terms of the study of law. So we have a lot of experience in legal education. About 5 years ago, we validated the LLB, which stands for Bachelor of Laws, which is a 3-year Level 8 programme.
And the programme itself is professionally accredited or acknowledged professionally. What does that mean for somebody who's studying on the programme?
It is absolutely, Fiona. So I suppose when we think about law, law really permeates every aspect of our lives, doesn't it? There are so many different aspects to law. There's entering into contracts, and there's employment law, there's criminal law and family law, land law, and lots of different aspects of civil law. And I suppose the professional bodies have what we call the core law modules. So there are two professional bodies in law. There's the Law Society of Ireland, which is where you go to qualify as a solicitor, and there is the King's Inns, where you go to qualify as a barrister. And both of those professional bodies have what they call core law modules. And you need to do those modules at undergraduate level in order to have what we call a qualifying law degree. And a qualifying law degree means that you can go to the Law Society of Ireland and sit the entrance exams there, the FE1s, and it's particularly significant for the King's Inns because you really have to have these core modules in your law degree to sit the entrance exams. If you don't have those core modules in your law degree, then you have to do a 2-year diploma at the King's Inns before you can sit the entrance exams. So our degree is a qualifying law degree. It's validated by the King's Inns. You'll see it on their website, and it means that you can turn up and sit the entrance exams to become a barrister at law. So it's what we call a qualifying law degree, and it contains those core law modules and lots of other interesting areas of law too.
Yeah, but that's amazing, I suppose, like as you say, in terms of setting the scene. For years now, the guts of 20 plus years, LYIT has been delivering education in terms of law across law with criminal justice. There was law with languages, and then moving into the Bachelor of Laws. But to have that pathway, and then for other people maybe who haven't completed the modules, they have to complete that 2-year program, is amazing. It's such a draw.
Yeah. It's a fantastic attribute for the course. It's also, it really, I suppose, gives us, validation that the King's Inn, and they really scrutinize programs when they validate them, and there's quite a process to go through. So we were, as far as I know, the first Institute of Technology to have our law degree validated by the King's Inns. And it's something that we work very hard to maintain. And it's a real attribute for the program and a real benefit to the students because it means that whether you go on to become a barrister or not, when you sign up to this law program, you know it's a qualifying law degree. You have that option available to you. And of course, you don't have to do that immediately on graduating. Many of our graduates go on to do lots of other things and go on to become a barrister at some point later during their careers because you have
Yeah.
that qualifying law degree behind you.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, in terms of graduate career prospects, it isn't just about, I suppose, going down the road of becoming a barrister solicitor. Yes, that option is there for you, and as you say, you can return to it. But other career prospects, I know a lot of students go down, like, I suppose, multiple avenues from this program. Can we talk a little bit, I suppose, other opportunities outside of barrister and solicitor that you could go down?
Yeah, absolutely, Fiona. I may be biased, but I just think law is a brilliant degree qualification to have. And it's certainly not just about becoming a professionally qualified lawyer. As I said, after 20 plus years of offering law degrees, we do have an awful lot of our graduates out there in the professions, both solicitors and barristers. But an awful lot of our graduates have gone into other areas. So we have a lot of our graduates would become guards. And
Hmm.
you can have a kind of fast track promotion system in the guards if you have a law degree. Many of our graduates work as advocates, whether that be with youth organisations or other voluntary organisations or NGOs. Many work in financial services and banking. So it really is, a broad degree in terms of different specialisms that you can choose, and many, I have to say, work in the legal profession but not as professionally qualified lawyers. So people may be familiar with the term paralegals. There are many support staff in solicitors' offices who do a lot of the groundwork, whether that be legal research or other types of administrative support work, and many of our graduates work in those kind of roles. And as I said, sometimes they go on to qualify later on when they are able to, pursue that pathway. But in the meantime, there are lots and lots of roles out there for law graduates.
Yeah, so multifaceted in terms of career opportunities. And then, as you say, you can revisit if you want, then further down your career, maybe to go back and look at the barrister and solicitor qualifying law exams as well. There is a work placement as well in the programme. I suppose, can you talk a bit about that in terms of the context of this degree?
Yeah, that's a real attribute as well, I think, for the program. And again, it's not that usual in law degrees. I mean, it's very usual in other clinical areas. I mean, nursing, for example, or veterinary, where you would spend a good deal of time on placement. So we introduced this work placement in 2012. It's proved hugely successful.
Hmm.
And I really have to thank our partners in the law firms, particularly in Donegal and throughout the Northwest, who support this placement by taking our students. So essentially what this means for the student is that in the final year of your law degree, you get to elect a law placement, so you don't have to do it, a workplace learning, and you go 1 day a week to a solicitor's office usually or other legal environment. So you do some training with us in the classroom and then spend 1 day a week for a full semester on placement. And I have to say, students learn so much about the workings of a solicitor's office, and the insights that they get into those areas that they've learned about in the classroom really is quite phenomenal. And the feedback that we get is so positive about that work placement, both from the students and also from the solicitors, actually. And it's
Hmm.
great. As I was saying to the students just last week when we did the training for work placement, it's great for networking, it's great for getting to learn the ropes of the profession and
Yeah.
deciding what you may or may not want to do further down the line.
Yeah, it definitely allows students to really dip their toe in the water when it comes to the career that they're going into. And a lot of the times, too, you're building a relationship, Siobhan, with a company or an organization that may in the future take you back again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that happens fairly frequently. So it might be that you end up working for the solicitor you went on placement with or somebody that you met during placement. So it's a really good opportunity for networking. Very often, the first time that students will have met, members of the legal profession. It's also beneficial in terms of getting a reference later on if you're looking for a training contract or looking for a job in the legal profession. So in the final year of the LLB, the students can do either a work placement. We also have a street law program which Bronagh
Yeah.
runs. I might mention that's in both programs as well. So there's some really exciting options for students to kind of really round off their law degree.
Yeah, so for anybody watching tonight, that's the 3 year level 8 LY208 LLB Bachelor of Laws. So for students or parents or teachers that are watching, know that law is available in both sections of the CAO at LYIT as either your level 8 choice and then you have your level 7 choice. Well, for now, Siobhan, I'm going to let you take a breather and I'm going to be joined by Dr. Bronagh Heverin. And Bronagh is going to join me and we're going to talk about the Law with Criminal Justice program. So we've been talking, Bronagh, with Siobhan about the LLB Bachelor of Laws, the Level 8 program, but we also have the program, the Law with Criminal Justice program, and that's what you're going to profile with me tonight in terms of the program. So first of all, you're very welcome to tonight's live session.
Cheers. Thanks a million, Fiona. And yeah, to start on the main point with the law of criminal justice is it's entry level at level 7. And that the first practical point about that is the lower entry points. And that entitles you to do a 3-year BA in law with criminal justice. But the majority of our students then stay on for a 4th year to have an honours degree. And that, I suppose, gives them firstly the honours degree. But there's 2 really important points to make about it. The first one is to confirm that it is also a qualifying law degree. And that's really important because quite often at 17 or 18, you're coming in and you're not quite sure which direction you want to go in law. This leaves you with your options open. You'll have a qualifying law degree at the end, and you'll also have the criminal justice element, which is proving really attractive.
Yeah.
I have to say, we're also one of very few criminology stroke criminal justice options which have the qualifying law degree included, which makes it really attractive to students who aren't sure which direction they might want to go.
Yeah. So that's going back to what Siobhan was saying earlier. Obviously, the core elements of the law program are ticking the boxes again that allows the progression into the FE1s or the King's Inn. Is that correct?
Exactly. It includes all of those core law elements, and as I say, for undecided students, but also because it's a 4-year program as well, or 3/4, depending whether you stay on, but as I say, most do, you get the opportunity to do lots of really interesting criminal justice subjects. And a lot of entrants certainly have their eyes on that when they come in and they know less about the law, but they hear a lot about criminology and criminal justice, and it sounds really interesting. And it is. So they get to study things like criminal justice, victimology, criminology itself, and other electives which, allow for further expansion, like the Law Reform Project or restorative justice. Luckily, Eimear will be following me, and she's been there, done that, and all of these, so she'll be able to tell how interesting all of those are.
And she's so passionate. I've spoke with Eimear before, and Eimear mentioned certain modules that you've mentioned about how much she enjoyed them as well. And I think what's really good about LYIT in the space of law, and I suppose having been around the department and people like yourself for so long, is that experiential piece. Now, Siobhan mentioned earlier about the option for street law. For somebody watching now today, what is street law? What does that mean?
Street law is just great. Well, I'm obviously a fan of it. The experiential learning, I suppose, is fundamental to our law programme and also then our outreach programmes as well.
Yeah.
So to explain experiential learning is, I suppose, learning by doing as opposed to an entirely academic slant. You still have to have the academic foundation, but it gives you much more opportunity, and for a lot of students, a more enjoyable way of using the knowledge they have. And street law in particular, hopefully some of our audience tonight have come across it, Fiona, but it's where our 3rd-year students go out to the 2nd-level schools, the TY programme, and they take them over a course of weeks, and they teach, or I don't like using the word teach, they learn law with the students, and they come into LYT then and participate in a mock trial. But it's really mutually beneficial. Our students realise how well they know the law by teaching it to students who have very limited exposure to the law on 2nd level.
Yeah, but again, I suppose it's expanding to, I suppose, our own student skills by doing that type of activity in terms of a law degree. And I suppose it sets us apart as well in terms of that opportunity for the student coming into our program as well.
Yeah, I mean, the buzzword now is about employability for graduates, but
Mhm.
that's all grounded in transferable skills, so that whatever our students learn, they can take to any form. And I have to say, I would second Siobhan in saying that a law degree is a really good general third level education. The directions our students can go are many and
Yeah,
varied, but
that's
it's their
right.
capacity to transfer the skills they get which makes them so flexible, and
Yeah.
their degree so usable.
Yeah, but again, you're constantly, I suppose, using skills like communication, you're presenting, and then persuasion and negotiation. I suppose they're all the things that employers want in terms of right now, learners leaving grounded and ready for the world of work. And again, this program, similar to the LLB, the Level 8, has that work placement opportunity as well, isn't that right?
It does. It has. I mean, we've several, if you want to call them more applied modules, and the work placement would be
Hmm.
one, street law another. We also do alternative dispute resolution, where they learn how to mediate between disputing parties. We do restorative justice, where they do a project on, well, it's a method for conflict resolution, but they're all
Hmm.
really, really practical. We do mooting, a lot of practical skills for two reasons. One, we think that's how students learn well, but we also
Hmm.
find that the students really engage with it, and it's a win-win situation.
So I suppose the unique elements of the program are again that work placement, the opportunity you don't necessarily have to take the work placement. There's other opportunities there, and for instance, in the third year of the program, the fact that it's a level 7 program that has the ability to be a qualifying law degree, the level 7 plus the top up level 8, they are unique aspects to this program as well.
Very certainly. The criminal justice combined with law is, there's only two or three universities, not to mention ITs, in the country who offer that option. For others, you generally have to go criminology or criminal justice on its own, and you have no legal qualification. So it's very unique in having both. And as I say, many of our entrants aren't sure where they're going to go. I think the opportunity to do it over 4 years is great as well, Fiona, because they
Yeah.
inevitably cover more. So they're
Mhm.
they know more, they're more experienced, and they can kind of make a better judge of where they might go at the end of it.
Yeah, and again, I suppose where they might go at the end of it, like I know many good student who has come through the Law with Criminal Justice program. I suppose dropping names, Michael Carroll, for instance, would have run our law soc and public speaking society before, and went into the career in Garda Síochána and progressed up the ladder with that. He's one example of someone who's involved in student life, clubs and societies related to the course, but also then went into the space of advocacy and the Guards. So I suppose career prospects similar to the LLB program. Would that be right to say?
It would, absolutely. Probably, I would think a lot of potential Gardaí certainly are attracted to the criminal justice element, because certain
Yeah.
aspects of it are clearly very aligned. But equally, they might be more have interest in social work, youth work. Many of our graduates have gone into those kind of areas. They tend to be more outreach type services, and certainly it gives them a very good foundation for that.
Yeah.
And in the Guards, it gives them a nice promotion prospect going in with that kind of experience behind.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. To have that bedrock kind of behind you. In terms of then the guest speakers, and one element that I think is really special about the Department of Law and Public Service and Education is that link with industry and the variety of speakers over the 3 and 4 years that students get to interact with. Phenomenal. So, Bruno, we give some examples to people watching tonight of the types of guest speakers that will be out there or coming in to LYIT's department.
Well, you mentioned work placement and the links that it can make with the outside world as such. We had our street law orientation, which is this intensive training last weekend, and the only other I, place that's running it at the moment is the Law Society, which is obviously a postgraduate program.
Wow.
But the Law Society, John Luddy, who runs it there, comes down to LYIT, and he was here last Friday and Saturday running hours out as well. And that's a great connection, because I suppose it makes the Law Society much more accessible to our students.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, through many of the subjects we cover, we'd have external speakers like the juvenile liaison officer, the guards, experts in various areas, like in mediation services and so on, would come in and talk to the students. Last year, we actually had several representatives we were very lucky. The president of the Law Society and the president of the Bar Council were both women, and they came and spoke on an evening to our students. And I don't know if you know, Fiona, but the president of the Bar Council is the incoming president of the
Yeah.
ATU. So, I mean,
Yeah,
there are lots of opportunities for making
yeah.
really strong connections during the course of the programme.
It's fantastic to see actually. She's going to be the new chairperson of the governing body for ATU. So very exciting in terms of that. Um, so we're going to change it up a little. I'm going to give you a break, Brona, and we're now going to get the student perspective, and we're going to be joined by Eimear Doogan. Now, Eimear, you're so welcome to tonight's Thursday Night Live session.
Hello, Fiona. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Eimear, you are such an all-rounded student in that you're an ambassador, you're involved in societies, you're a great student in the classroom. And I suppose when I first connected with you way back, it was about, I suppose, getting all aspects of your student life and trying to share it with everybody because you've had a really great time at LYIT
Yeah.
and grabbed every opportunity. So can we take it from, I suppose, the start when you were doing your own leaving cert in the Rosses? What made you choose, I suppose, LYIT's law program?
Well, I suppose thinking back my own leaving cert, I was always interested in law. I had loads of different career options that I was thinking of, but ultimately I always came back to law for me.
Yeah.
And so the course in LYT really appealed to me because of that, because of the wide variety of subjects, and yeah, it just really appealed to me.
Yeah, and it's funny, I suppose module wise, if I was to ask you about the modules and your favorite modules, I find it very interesting when you tell me about this. But I suppose for the viewers that don't know you, what modules have you enjoyed the most in law?
Oh, there's so many. The top of my head, I'm really enjoyed victimology, and I've also enjoyed restorative justice, alternative dispute resolution. Um, oh, there's so
There's
many.
such a
Human
mix in between it.
rights, yeah.
Wow. And in terms of, I suppose, victimology, like what aspect of that did you enjoy? Was it the speakers? Was it that, I suppose, the level of interaction in class? Can you talk a bit about that?
For me, it was a mixture of the speakers, but it was also just the way it was taught. It was taught in such a way that was so, you really got to the core of the topics that you were learning about. And they made it like really interesting and made you want to engage with the module, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, it
you
does.
actually felt like you could sort of, oh, I don't know, it just made it really
Yeah,
interesting.
really relatable, I suppose, in terms of the
Yeah,
content. I know that you're very passionate about certain aspects of, I suppose, your law from your own context and you're thinking about your own career. What are
mhm,
your future plans now beyond? Because you're fourth year and you're thinking about the
yeah.
future. What's your plans in terms of progression?
For me, I was definitely one of those people that I probably should have been thinking about this earlier, but for me, I was probably only late last year, if I'm completely honest with myself, that definitely decided on what area I'd be interested in. And for me, it came down to I've always had an interest in young people and working with young people. And throughout my modules, whenever there was any area of just like learning about different areas of the criminal justice system, which you do learn a lot about with this course. I was very interested in the area of the juvenile justice system. So, really, the area of work I would love to go into is child youth advocacy or anywhere in the youth justice system, to be honest.
That's fantastic. And knowing you, Emer, I have every belief that you will deliver on that in terms of, I suppose, getting into that system and making a difference. I suppose the question I have for you now is if you were going back to 17, 18-year-old Emer and back up to the Rosses again, and if I asked you if you had to choose law again, would you start over? I suppose what would the answer be?
Oh, without any hesitation, I would definitely go back and do it all over again. Just when I think back over the past 4 years, going in and think, I did read the course and I was like, I sort of thought I knew what I was about, but realistically, when I think back, I didn't know how good it could be.
Yeah.
Um, there's been so many opportunities through this course, even extra things that I didn't think about. for example, even during the pandemic, so many opportunities were given to us. One opportunity that sticks in my mind was I had the opportunity in one of my modules, alternative dispute resolution, to take part in a negotiation competition online with one of my fellow classmates and friends through this course. So yeah, that was one opportunity that really I don't think I would have got anywhere else.
Yeah, and it's important to highlight that, I suppose, Emer, because um, I suppose perceptually people think that maybe they need to be in a larger institution where there's maybe
Mm,
150 or 200 in the class, but being in a smaller institution where there are between 30 and 50 people in the classroom environment does present more opportunities for you.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think I can only speak for going to a smaller college, but I know from different experiences with different people I know that you definitely don't have as much engagement with, say, the lecturers
Yeah.
or people like that. If you were in a bigger college, then in LYT, they make it so easy to just be able to go to your lecture and be like, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me? And it's just, they're so engaging. It's great.
Yeah, well, you are the poster child for law, Emer, and and you have not been paid to say these things this evening. These are your
No.
things and your story that you're sharing with us. And you yourself, in terms of student life, have been involved in student ambassador program as well. So
Mhm.
you've kind of grabbed every opportunity that has come your way.
Yeah, for me personally, I just thought if the opportunities were given to me, I may as well. There's nothing to lose,
Yeah, there's nothing to
and
lose.
it really just adds to your student life. Like I don't know, Letterkenny, there's just so many things that I wouldn't have thought that I'd be interested in. Like I love going to the gym now because of like college, and like me myself, I'm a wheelchair user, and the gym is so inclusive. There, it's so adaptive. I know that's not to do with what we're supposed to be talking about,
No, but
but
it is. Yeah.
yeah, it just
And
really
it's
adds to the
important to
student
highlight
life.
that, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I suppose that it's the full student experience and it's
Hmm.
not just always about the curriculum and the program, it's the whole student. So clubs
Yeah,
and societies, as you mentioned,
yeah,
sports and activities, like the facilities we have are really great. And you
yeah.
don't have to go too far away to get them because they're there on your
No.
doorstep. And that inclusivity as well. And what I really like, I suppose, about the what you have done as a student and having watched you in action is your ability to embrace everything
Hmm.
and every opportunity that comes your way, and also mix with other departments, so students from computing and science and all over the campus. And that's something that you can do at LYT very comfortably.
Mhm, definitely. Like everyone in LYT, and I'm not just saying this, they are so friendly. The atmosphere is, I think it is individual to LYT. I think it is because we are a smaller college,
Yeah.
but it's just one of those places you can just say hello to everyone, and everyone just says hello back, and everyone's just so friendly.
Yeah, but that's, I suppose, a good thing in terms of the learner, in terms of getting to know everybody. And as you mentioned earlier, the lecturers being reachable and
Yeah,
contactable, that's really, really important. And it is one of, I suppose, the important aspects and the key aspects of what we do at LYIT. I'm going to bring Siobhan back on now. Emer, you're free to go, but I will be calling
thank
back on
you.
you again. But for Siobhan, I just want to, suppose, wrap up the chat with yourself, and then I want to bring Emer and Brona back on the screen again because we do have a few questions. And anybody who's watching who has a question specific for Brona, for Emer, or for Siobhan tonight, please do drop them in the comments below. We have a number of questions in advance of tonight's session as well, so we will go through them. But I suppose, Siobhan, anything new in the department or anything coming up that you might want to highlight that's coming on track tonight while we're live here?
Yeah, thanks, Fiona. Great to hear of Emma's positive experiences there. Really captures so much of what we do at LYIT and what the learners do so well and how involved they get. So having had these successful, 2 law degree programs for this many years, this year we're actually developing a new law program, a BA in corporate law. So our feedback from learners and from industry and various consultations tell us that there is a demand for a specialism in corporate law. So we're hoping to deliver that in September coming, and once it's validated. And again, the plan is that will be a qualifying law degree. It will contain all those core modules, but it will be a third offering. So students then coming in hopefully can do either law with criminal justice or LLB or a level 8 3-year BA in corporate law.
Fantastic. So that the plan is for that for 2022, Siobhan. So for this September.
Yes. It's almost ready to go, and we hope to have it validated, and then people can apply through the change of mind date.
Brilliant.
Later on in the CAO process. Yeah, so we're really excited about that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I suppose slightly unrelated to law, we're also developing a BA in communications with English, which is another offering. We found that there's quite a demand out there for communications and for people to work in the professional communications environment. That's an up and coming area. And then I suppose just lastly, Fiona, we are delving more into the professional market with the kind of non-undergraduate programs. So these would be programs that are aimed, they're part-time, many of them are online, and they're aimed at people who are already working in the field. So we have a diploma in human resource management and employment law, where we're pending CIPD accreditation. We have a certificate in children's rights, and we have a certificate in online dispute management. So those are some of our new offerings, and aimed at the professional market, as I said.
Perfect. And those programs, for anybody watching tonight that Siobhan has mentioned, are direct entry application programs. So the communications with English and corporate law would be via the CAO. But for anybody watching tonight, with reference to the programs that you mentioned that are professional market driven, they're direct entry. So you apply direct to LYIT. And September intake as well, Siobhan? Yeah, September time?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for both.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just lastly, if I may say, Fiona, if you don't mind, before you let everybody else back in, we still have some places left on our level 9 MA in governance compliance in financial services. So that is a master's program at level 9. Delivery will commence in March. There still are a few places left, and there is some funding available through the HEA. So again, that's a direct entry process. So please contact me if you're interested in that program. It's aimed at law graduates, but it's a hybrid program. It's law, it's IT, and it's business for financial services put together.
Fantastic.
So it's quite a unique offering.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to contact Siobhan, you can email Siobhan on siobhan.cullen@lyit.ie. So we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We've had great interactions with Dr. Bronagh Heverin and Eimear Doogan. We're going to bring them back on screen because there are a few questions. So I suppose one of the questions was asking you, Eimear, about student life, and have you been involved in student life? And I suppose you have answered that one already. So I suppose you want to reaffirm that.
Yeah, I definitely have. If I would give any advice to prospective students, it would definitely be join as many things as you possibly can. I know myself in first year, I was probably a bit shy, and I probably didn't join as much as I should have. But it definitely does add to your student experience. So yeah, for me, like the likes of the student ambassador program, it's been great. It really builds your confidence, and you meet so many new people and just make so many new connections. So yeah, definitely just join as much as you can.
Get involved, and get involved as early as you can. Don't leave it too late.
No.
That's a key message. Another question, I'll ask this to you, Bronagh. Work placements. Does the college help with getting your work placement if you decide to take the work placement option?
Yes, we do. But to be fair to students, they like the autonomy of being able to find their own placement. And what, as Siobhan mentioned, the majority would go to legal practices, but sometimes our students like to go to different places. So they've been to mediation services, in-house lawyers or whatever. So they have lots of options. So yes, we will help, but the students in practice tend to prefer the freedom to be able to go and find their own placement. And sometimes they'll go back nearer home or whatever, you know, they can take their placement provided it meets the legal criteria all over the country.
And on the placements as well, can you do your placement abroad?
Absolutely, and you'd encourage that. I mean, well, so I suppose for I should say I'm kind of coming from when we had languages and we were very encouraging of that. It's probably more limited now where we don't have languages, but we do have the Erasmus program where students can take up to have a semester abroad, which certainly will add to their qualification.
Yeah, fantastic. Let me just see. There's another question about master's programs. If you didn't want to become a barrister or a solicitor, Siobhan, what other master's programs have learners in the past gone on to do from the LLB or Law with Criminal Justice program? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question, Fiona. Lots of our graduates do go on to do master's programs. And as I say, we have the MA in Governance and Compliance at LYIT, and it's really a conversion course into financial services because we found that that's where a lot of jobs are in the local region. But having said that, lots of graduates who want to do a pure law master's would go to Queen's, for example. They have a master's in criminal justice, which can be a progression from our criminal justice degree. There's also human rights and various other master's programs at Queen's in Belfast or in Galway or in Dublin. So, you know, many students who perhaps are from the region, they've done their undergraduate degree here in Donegal at LYIT, decide to go further afield then for their masters. And sometimes that's a bridge then into professional qualification at a later stage, or maybe they decide to take the route into academia.
Yeah. And one last question for you, Siobhan, and then we'll wrap up this evening, is can you highlight for somebody interested in law, can they do the Northern Ireland equivalent of the law exams from our law degree?
Yes, that's a good question. And I should have said that actually, that it both our law programs are also validated by the Institute of Professional Legal Studies for Northern Ireland. So yes, that is another option as well, which some of our graduates do take.
Yeah, so again, it makes it very, I suppose, appealing in terms of progression. So thank you, Siobhan. Thank you, Eimear, and thank you, Dr. Bronagh Heverin, for joining us tonight. It has been absolutely brilliant to have your expertise and knowledge online this evening. And if anybody wanted to contact any of the people that you see this evening, please feel free to touch base with fiona.kelly@lyit.ie, and we can share the contacts direct with the three people that were on here live with us tonight. Okay, so that wraps up tonight's Thursday night live session. It's been an absolute pleasure to showcase the Department of Law, Public Service and Education. Join us again next Thursday night at 7 p.m. where we'll be showcasing another department at LYIT.